So we're talking all sex assaults. So from infant to geriatric, yeah.
So lots to unpack.
Let that roll around for a second. And then felony child abuse. But the thing is, I was so motivated by that work. Every day that I got up, I'm like, let's screw up some child molesters.
I focus a lot when I talk about PTSD on law enforcement. And I feel police officers are largely ignored. I remember the very first time I did CPR. It's very traumatic. You know, I'm doing CPR on an old man. He died on that bed in that room in front of his family, and I'm 16. And it's like that thing happens over and over and over again for an entire career. It's interesting, when I first asked you the question, you were like, well, in the last 4 years since retirement, I've done a lot of healing. What initiated that? Sean, hey man, thank you for having me. We're gonna start the day standard, 2 cops and a coffee.
All right.
Cheers.
Much better than that.
Thank you.
That's going back.
So I appreciate you having me out to Texas. You're not from Texas, right?
No. Grew up in Colorado.
Is that where you were a police officer?
Yeah, my whole career was in Colorado. And in 2021, I retired and came over to PewPewTactical. And PewPew was moving from California.
Chinaman is not the preferred nomenclature. Asian American, please.
Out to Austin.
Have a good day.
Your law enforcement background, why did you choose that path? I often find that police officers have very specific reasons, you know, as why they became a police officer.
It's been an interesting time for me the last 4 years since I retired in 2021. I've done a lot of healing and have been on a little bit of an exploratory journey. And so I've been able to answer that a little better now. I feel like my childhood in so many ways almost dictated that I would end up in law enforcement. Just witnessing violence as a kid, you know, having that, experiencing that as a child, and seeing the disparity between power of the people who had it and who didn't. You know, having my own experiences in school with bullying and standing up to bullying and how good that felt.
I beat the shit out of some kids today.
Almost locked me in. And here's the funny part, like in high school, I was a punk kid. Like I was all about that life. Like I did not like cops. But I got into search and rescue and I started helping people and it felt so good. I became an EMT. I worked on a local ambulance service. I was the assistant fire marshal, so I got into wildland firefighting. And then I ultimately became one of the leaders in search and rescue. I just ate that up.
You mentioned childhood trauma, right? And I immediately think of all the different ways that manifests in some people. Some people want to become cops in order to have the power.
Leader is French. Forgive me some f***ing cola before I break loose.
I would imagine some become cops in an environment like that in order to protect other kids from having to be subject to that environment.
Yeah.
Maybe you were pushed into the take care of others side of that because of your EMT experience.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe if you didn't have that, maybe you would have been pushed towards the authority and power side.
Go ahead. Make my day.
I saw an imbalance of power. And, you know, when we learned statistically about domestic violence, we learned that I think it's in the 70th percentile, that if you witness that growing up as a kid, that you will repeat it.
Wow.
You will become the person who does the very same
I didn't
thing.
know it was that bad.
And, you know, I think too, you know, as a child of the 70s, having a little bit of ADHD, which they didn't understand, I had an overdeveloped sense of justice and fair play. Do your best to make things right in the world, and there's a price to pay. But while it's feeding you, it can also be destroying you.
Not quit.
This is a great conversation. I feel so many of the same things you described, that over that sense of like right and wrong and being mad. Military, nobody ignores, nobody is painting with broad strokes, but PTSD in the military, everybody's kind of like, I understand, right? And it's not even combat. It's just, you can spend 20 years in the military and there's something about that community and that life that when you leave it, you know, there's a void. But for me, I focus a lot when I talk about PTSD on law enforcement. And I feel police officers are largely ignored. I remember the very first time I did CPR. It's very traumatic. You know, I'm doing CPR on an old man, grandfather to somebody. His grandkids were in the room. His daughter was in the room, and he died on that bed in that room in front of his family. And I'm 16. And it's like that thing happens over and over and over again for an entire career. It's interesting, when I first asked you the question, you were like, well, in the last 4 years since retirement, I've done a lot of healing. What initiated that?
So there's a couple of things. Like I had two significant periods in my career. The first was all operations. I was on the law enforcement out on the roadside. I saw a lot of stuff, a lot of critical incidents during that time. And we can kind of compartmentalize that as the initial beginnings, right? I later went to Fort Collins and became a DA investigator for the district attorney's office. And within that additional 7.5 years, I worked 5 in SVU. And that is...
Traumatic.
Yeah, very much so. So we're talking all sex assaults. So from infant to geriatric, yeah.
So lots to unpack.
Let that roll around for a second. And then felony child abuse. Now, I was seeing a therapist. It was mandated by the county, like you have to go and see. But the thing is, I was so motivated by that work. Every day that I got up, I'm like, let's screw up some child molesters,
But you were probably just delaying the need for help because you were actively doing the work.
Yeah. And then you go to the therapist, and what do you say?
I'm fine. Come on.
Right.
I'm fine.
Right. Don't take my badge. Don't take my gun.
Well, that's the thing. In the military, you say, I need help. And they go, no problem. They send you to a therapist. You're fine, right?
Yeah.
For law enforcement, they go, no problem. Hand me your badge and your gun, and then we'll get you help. And you're basically giving up your identity, who you are, what actually motivates you. Yeah. You're giving it over, and you've lost it.
You're fired!
Yeah, a lot of people, even still in law enforcement, don't understand that it is not a job, it is not a career, it is a lifestyle. It is absolutely who you are as a person, and even after the fact.
It's a lot. How much of this enters your content with PewPewTactical?
Almost none, thankfully.
Influences it without people knowing.
Yeah, I've been on, like I said, that journey, and the last year I have made a lot better choices. I've lost 40 pounds and I've gotten more healthy and am getting some therapy. I'm talking to somebody who knows about law enforcement, and I don't have to unpack all of those challenges or explain things to. So that has helped me out significantly. And I think overall, just appreciating the wisdom, finding stoicism was another huge one for me. Just being able to accept things a little bit more, and then try to grow graciously into some wisdom.
You had mentioned, I'm so happy. You had mentioned after here, across the street is a bookstore.
Yeah.
Owned by Ryan Holiday and his wife,
right?
Who wrote, Ego is the Enemy, Stoicism, a bunch of great, fantastic books. Are you a reader?
Oh yeah.
Be cool if we go across the street and take a look at the bookstore.
Yeah, it's great.
The value of books. Free papers.
I'm so happy. Maybe the viewers don't care, but I'm so happy it's here.
It was a wild happenstance for me to find stoicism and then realize that I live by and work in a town where Ryan's bookstore is,
This right here, this is, you guys see this, Svet? Look at this. We played Jenga yesterday with diversity hires.
Oh! Ah!
Jenga!
And guns.
It's Jenga of books. A book is medicine for the soul. Do you see any favorites that you've read that you like here?
Gift of Fear, Kevin Becker.
Oh, The Gift of Fear. That is, so I owned a Krav Maga gym. I would give that book to them because so much of self-defense isn't what you do with your hands. It's what happens up here. This is Body Keeps Score. Have you read this?
I had that recommended to me.
I was going to say, based on our conversation, that is one of the best books for trauma and PTSD and introspection, and also understanding people in your life that might experience trauma.
Right.
The Body Keeps Score is maybe the Bible for that. It's really, really, really phenomenal. I can't. Hey, have you read it?
No.
Well,
It's
this
on my list.
is going to be my gift to you today.
Right on, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Ryan's philosophy is, especially here, to find the books that were meaningful to him, and so he puts them up, man. If he finds stuff he really enjoys.
When you're 25 and you're a police officer, like, you never stop to think, like, how could I self-improve? There's no introspection. It's just go, and you're bulletproof and you're having fun. And they say youth is wasted on the young. And there's just some things you don't get until you're older. But man, I wish I had this knowledge when I was younger.
Oh man, me too. I think for me, it was recognizing in my youth that I was an adrenaline junkie. And so those long, quiet moments were basically me just waiting for the next call, right?
Oh, God,
That was me just waiting. But you find out later that all that adrenaline and all that waiting, it takes a toll on you.
How to Think Like a Roman Emperor. There's got to be one book I get for myself
You know,
today.
that's got to be Marcus Aurelius.
Yes.
I have a very great friend in Rome called Bigus Dickus.
When you've spent decades dealing with chaos, clarity starts to matter. And that clarity shows up in how PewPewTactical approaches guns. Measured, methodical, and honest. With Sean at the helm. Oh, you didn't do it!
Oh, you want me to knock back? Okay.
Have you not seen Roger Rabbit?
Too bad!
Perfect! For the range. This is your break house for the range.
Yeah.
Do you do any writing or any ideating or storylining or directing or producing here?
No, we are largely work from home. Most of the filming, Johnny and I will come down and we'll work out whatever we've got on the schedule, and we'll come down and film it. And we kind of created a template that we use for each video, and that's evolved over time, largely because, you know, YouTube has restrictions, but the range house is mostly just hanging out. Yeah.
You got a place we could sit down at? I'm glad you brought up YouTube. I would love to ask you questions about the channel and the direction, all that stuff. You got a place we could sit down and chat?
Absolutely.
I'm holding an FDE rifle. This is as tactical as it gets, and it matches my. See, it's good. We're in your range house. We'll go to the range, do some shooting. Dead center.
There we go.
But you know, I always love to ask questions about, you know, YouTube, the channel, you know, your process. How do you plan your content?
PewPewTactical is an affiliate business. Our website always displays products that we have, almost always, hands-on tested and recommend. And if you do go and buy a product, then we get a tiny percentage of that sale.
Of course.
That's
how you make money.
General nature of affiliate. So, and I'll tell you one secret about PewPewTactical that a lot of people don't hear. If we haven't reviewed a gun, it's because of one of two reasons. We either haven't gotten to it yet, or we started to and it didn't go well and we sent it back. So what we find is that we have to analyze. We do everything we can to eliminate me being the problem. And a lot of times it is, I'm just being honest, a lot of times it's me. But if I can eliminate me and we still have an issue, then we'll reach back out to the company and we'll say, hey, here's what happened. We'll provide you with video. And you know, as long as it's not a safety issue, then we work with the company. We'll say, okay, either fix this one or send us another one, and then we'll review it. But we always mention, hey, this is the problem that we had in the beginning, and now we're coming back to it. Your integrity is like your virginity, and once it's gone, you will never get it back.
I've lost my mojo!
I want to do a little experiment with you. I'm curious how you would explain to me, you know, off the cuff, right? Like what would make one more valuable than the other, or, you know, I just want to kind of put you on the spot and hear your process in real time out loud. We have two firearms here. This is, they're clear and safe, by the way, guys. You can see there's no mag, and we're empty here. And a little safety, or empty here, no mag, all right? We have two guns. This is the Kimber 2K11, and this is the Dark Forge Reaper. Have you ever had your hands on either one of these?
I've, did the Kimber 2K11.
Okay, so I'm interested in buying a handgun. I go to the PewPewTactical website, I'm looking up reviews, you know, I'm like, wow, which one should I buy? And for whatever reason, these are the two I'm looking at. You know, how would you approach these from somebody if you hadn't read the article yet?
I can apply this through the lens of PewPewTactical, and I can tell you that we would most likely batch these together.
Why would you batch them together?
Because categorically, we do, because of SEO and because people are very often looking for shortcuts, we group like together. So we'll create lists, and they used to be called listicles back in the day, right? Like it's an article with the list. And we take various products and we combine them in a list, you know, maybe your top 5 or your top 10, and then we'll compare them and contrast them with each other and talk about how they might fit this need versus that need. We always consider ergonomics, accuracy, and then the trigger, and then of course reliability, and then ultimately value. This is going to be great for competition, this is going to be great for duty, this is going to be great for concealed carry, this is going to be great for a truck gun, just based on size and the fact that this one is compensated. You know, like I'm I'm gonna lean toward, okay, this might be a little bit better for duty carry or open carry, but it's not gonna be that easy to conceal. But it's one of those situations where there's gonna be trade-offs.
Sure.
There's always gonna be trade-offs based on what you're trying to do.
PewPewTactical didn't grow because it shouted the loudest. It grew because it earned trust. The team behind it comes from different backgrounds, different beliefs, but they share one thing: a commitment to responsible, real-world firearms education. Sean happens to be the face you see most often on YouTube, but what shapes his perspective shapes the tone of the entire company. Amanda's like, can we make this segment as short as possible? It's like, yeah, we're kind of a firearms channel. Cans.
This rifle will put 5 bullets touching at 100 yards at less than half an inch. Everybody good, eyes and ears?
Eyes and ears.
Okay, going loud.
You were maybe 8 inches low and a little to the right. I can't tell if you were left or right, but it was, I would say, center of the plate.
Oh, you know why? I didn't dial my dope.
Dead center.
There we go. So what I would like to do, because I'm more interested in sharing experiences, brother.
I gotta get a note from me.
Now, do you remember what Abraham Lincoln said?
Hiya, schmucks!
About chopping down a tree? I'm gonna encourage you to adjust that rifle. Get the cheek piece where you need it to, get your length of pull dialed in, and feel free to come off of magnification and work your way back in. And let's do this to begin with. Eric, pull that magazine right in front of the trigger guard to push forward. There you go. And now go ahead and close your bolt. Let's just focus on getting everything dialed in to where you can rest your head, the full weight of your head, on that cheek piece.
No, I'm not gonna shoot the cow.
And I'm not gonna give you shit about your Coast Guard training, but you probably want to get completely straight behind the rifle, because the way you're lined up right here, you're going to shoot off to the right. I can guarantee you. Your recoil will push your gun to the right.
Should we abandon ship and just head down?
I'm leaning that direction.
Yeah, because
the water is not gonna get any better for camera equipment.
Sure, as soon as I dead center it.
Eyes and ears. Oh, just to the right.
I know, I felt it.
There you go. Bam! Impact. What do you think?
You wanna try, hon? No?
Come on, Amanda. You can absolutely do this. It's a piece of cake.
Not with those cats out there.
I knew it was gonna.
It was the cows. It was the cows that did it.
I can feel my wife being thrilled with the rain and shooting and standing in the mud, but I could be here all day. I would have zero issues being here all day.
Well, I'm glad you guys have a shared passion. This has become something for me that is a new avenue and
skill unlocked.
Yeah, like starting all over again, you know? I didn't do much shotgun in my law enforcement career, and I did 0 bolt action or scoped rifle. So this has been a lot of fun for me to learn.
Firearms is so much more than just going to a range and shooting pistols.
Oh man, yeah. There's worlds out there, and I've always kind of looked at it like that. Like, this is my competency level in pistols. Here's my competency level in AR-15s. Here's my competency level in shotgun. Maybe it's down here. And, you know, bolted rifle scoped rifle is really low. So I'm attending more training and just trying to get more knowledge. And, you know, thankfully we are blessed to have so many good instructors out there.
Yeah. Well, it's getting pretty wet. So
yeah.
I say maybe we
let's pack it in.
Let's pack this up and see if maybe we can get the weather to pass. This sucks. Sean, we did talk more than I anticipated, but I really enjoyed the conversation about PTSD.
Likewise.
And you know, just as you get older, recognizing and then finding ways to deal with it. And I was a little upset about the rain, walking back to the car, and you called me out, and you're like, you know, serenity. What would you say?
Acceptance.
Acceptance. Yeah. It's very stoic, right? Stoicism.
Right.
And I appreciate you calling me out, by the way. I talk about this all the time, how important it is to have good people in your life to remind you of things, because we're so far from perfect. And as you can see, Amanda could pan, it's pouring We're gonna have to come back.
Yeah, we've got a great facility here. Unfortunately, it's not designed to deal with the rain. So this is a weakness to our facility.
Check out our shoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, honey. We have to fly to Texas again. We got to do the bill drill challenge. We got to do the bullet flip challenge, and we got to shoot some soda cans out of the air.
I'm excited about all of that. This gives me a little bit more time to prepare. I saw some of the guys shooting your bill drill, and that's not a drill that I do. So I've got some stiff competition out there.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more challenging with that Glock than with the fancy pistols.
Right.
All right. Well, we'll see you on the next one. PewPewTactical is one of the voices helping shape what responsible gun media can look like. If you appreciate creators and companies doing it the right way, measured, honest, and thoughtful, well, that's exactly why we built Fanathem. Gives you a way to support the creators you already watch while getting a chance to win some incredible prizes. So head over to fanathem.com to see what's live right now, or click the link in the description. And if you want more perspectives in this space, check out our episode with PewView or Print, Shoot, Repeat. Different styles, same passion. We'll see you on the next one.